What's going on, Boulder?
He is him. We missed him on 2 deep balls. He get those 2 deep balls. The Heisman is at his crib chilling right now. God bless.
What's crazy is Travis Hunter does something else that has never been done at Colorado. We've got to talk about that as he continues to be one of the most decorated college football players in history. Plus, early statistics and returns are showing that Colorado has a chance to still be one of the top teams in the Big 12. We're going to run through some numbers as I'm a big stat head. We're going to look at some early returning production numbers as all that's being hashed out. We'll dive into that here on the Prime Time for College Football. This video is powered by our partners at BetUS. Check them out. They're hooking up the gamer. 150% bonus on your first deposit of $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150. So, Travis Hunter first. We're going to jump into the statistics because the numbers look good for the Buffs when it comes to compared to everybody else in the Big 12. Some good spots, some bad spots, but for the most part, it evens out to where the Buffs can repeat as one of the top teams in the conference. But Travis Hunter does something that no Colorado Buff has ever done in history. He is the first player to be named a unanimous first-team All-American and also first-team academic All-American. That's crazy. Travis Hunter has had an historic run, and it's awesome that Buffs Nation, you have been able to enjoy and be able to check this out. So he adds this to the mantle of all the other 8 million awards it feels like he's won this year. It's being the most decorated player to play in Colorado history. So just adding another component, showing just how great he was throughout the year, how you all were able to witness greatness. And at this point, it's just, what more can this young man do? It's crazy that he's been able to just achieve all of this. Said he wanted it, came and got it. Coach Prime was a key component of that, getting him here to Colorado, and man, can't beat that. So he joins Joe Burrow, Marcus Mariota, and so many few players out there that may do this. I think the last Heisman to do this, Danny Warfel, as well as Tim Tebow. They're the only 3 that was a first-team academic All-American as well as winning the Heisman Trophy. So he's out here standing alone with so many greats. And I just got to say, I'm excited to see it. And it's pretty dope to see that Travis Hunter was in Boulder doing these cool things. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. But let's look at next season now. It's time to look at returning production and what does it mean for the Buffs. It's gonna be a challenging piece to be able to replace such greatness because, again, Travis is one of the rare players out there. But the numbers showing that the Buffs have a chance to at least be as good as they were last year, as long as they fulfill everything they need to. So let's look at that. But first, shout out to our partners over there at BetUS. They're hooking up the gamer. 150% bonus on the first deposit of $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150. And right now, the only player that on the Buff squad that's actually being talked about in the Heisman race before the season starts, early betting odds, Caden Salter. He's sitting at 4,000. So 40-1 odds right now at winning the Heisman. He opened up at 25-1 odds, so that number has risen. But if you want to get on the action, you can do that because BetUS is going to take care of you. They've got gambler's insurance, so they're going to give you back 10% of your net losses twice a year to keep you in the game. So check them out. 150% bonus, 125% bonus on your second and third deposits, 150 on the first deposit of $2,000. All of that by using our promo code YouTube150 BetUS, where the game begins. Shout out to my guys over there at Dog Stats on the Xbird. Check them out. They've got a big repository of statistics that show, snaps, grades from PFF and all of that in one place to be able to use as a measuring stick to kind of understand what a team could potentially look like next season. And right now, those numbers are showing that Colorado has a really good chance of still being one of the top teams in the Big 12. So first, this stat that he has out is this is the grade of players that by position with a 2024 PFF grade of over 70 or a 4 to 5 star recruiting ranking. So somebody for the young players that don't have any grades yet, as well as those that have played. You can see their PFF grades of high. And for Colorado, they're coming in with about 17 players, which rated up there in the top echelon, top half of the Big 12. Your leader right now is UCF. They're returning a lot of players, especially on defense. And you've got Texas Tech right there at 18, as well as BYU, who they're returning a lot of players. So they should be challenging again next season. But Colorado's coming up there tied with Arizona State, tied with Baylor, as well as West Virginia, bringing back 17 players that either had a high PFF grade of 70 plus or being a 4 or 5 star rating. And that's pretty big. So you got young and seasoned players. I need to break out the difference between recruits as well as returning players. But the good thing is when you look at the numbers themselves, they actually calculated out the returning percentages. So to understand what this means, if you're showing here at over 100, that means your returning production on your team as well as the production of players that have transferred in. So that's just adding them together. So if it's more than what your team has done, of course, you're going to end up with over 100. So that's more so showing you're bringing some dudes in with snaps and capabilities that either had or didn't have. And so for Colorado, passing is where the questions are going to come in. Passing game as well as receiving, because not only did Shedeur and Travis Hunter out there cook, LaJohntay Western big, Jimmy Horn Jr., you're losing a lot of wide receiver numbers overall, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. You got about 60% returning with the current roster as well as transfers. Looking at this, though, running at 100%. Now, the running game wasn't that big last season, but you're still bringing it all back. Now you need to execute on the run. And I think that will change a lot, because in that returning rushing, also adding in Caden Salter, who is the scrambling quarterback, over 2,000 yards in his career. And he's a runner. So he's someone that can scramble and get those additional yards. And like I said, run. He can do design run and get out there as a former 4-star prospect. Duke can ball. So passing yards, they didn't bring in the same numbers that you got with Shedeur, because Shedeur was one of the top quarterbacks in the country statistically. And Caden kind of had an off year at Liberty, but he also didn't have very many weapons. Wide receivers weren't. They lost a few good wide receivers, as well as the offensive line was very young and not very productive. But for the Buffs, returning 87% of your offensive line snaps is huge. That means you got yourself a seasoned offensive line, and all they're going to do is continue to get better. And that is critical if you want to survive, especially with a quarterback like Caden Salter and then Julian Lewis, who's going to be learning a lot and possibly playing. From there, you're returning with a lot of tackles, 87% of your tackles and 113% on the pressure. So that's those added transfers in, like a Jaheim Otis or whatnot, to go along with your current defensive line play. You're bringing back a lot of players that's putting the pressure on. Now, you're not bringing back a lot of the interceptions, because Travis Hunter, of course, is out, and you're losing a lot of the safety. You're losing a lot in the secondary with Shiloh or whatnot. But you're still bringing back just under 50% on the interception rate. But the key thing here is the pressures. Colorado is one of the best, if not the best, defensive line in the Big 12, and they led the conference in sacks. Now you're bringing back all of that pressure, adding some additional components. One of the tops, between them, Texas Tech, who added some good players, and West Virginia. Colorado's got an opportunity to still stack up very well with everybody else in the conference. And that's just because they're returning the talent that's needed in order to do it. So I just want to lay that out there. It's early look. I'm waiting for Bill Connelly over there at ESPN to really drop those numbers. We'll break down the Big 12 and all the teams and what they look like and how Colorado stacks up against them once we get even more data. Because the other thing is to remember, spring portal, you'll still have opportunity to add additional players. And I think the Buffs will be still active there. Probably add, player here or there, probably defensive lineman, someone in the secondary, add another maybe wide receiver, probably maybe even go after another running back. We'll see. But the big thing is that right now this team looks like it's stacking itself up to compete in the Big 12 once again, compete for a Big 12 championship. They just got to go out there. They got to execute. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Shout out to our partners over there at BetUS. sponsoring the video. They're hooking you up 150% bonus on the first deposit of $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150. And so we'll be back. We'll start breaking down some film. I've actually got some Caden Salter film I want to break down. We'll get that to you all once I'm back from vacation. So we'll be out a few days. And yeah, we'll talk soon.